Hi, I'm Ian Fraser, lead designer on Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
And my name is Charles Dane. I'm the lead community manager for 38 Studios.
Also with us today is Joe Quadera, lead combat designer. Nice. So today we're going to show you a little bit of gameplay from Reckoning. At E3 we've got some new stuff to show. We've shown some combat to date, but today we want to show you a little bit more about character creation as well as city gameplay. So first we're going to really quickly come in here and make our character. Adjust the screen a little bit.
We're just in this screen real quick.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of E3 work going on here, so we ask you to bear with us. We'll have everything resolved real soon.
There we go.
All right.
That's the good stuff. All right. So when we start the game, it begins with character creation. So the first thing we're going to do is pick our race and gender. We have two different kinds of humans, two different kinds of elves to choose from. They get their own starting bonuses to different skills. So after we pick that, we get to choose a patron, sort of a god that watches over us in our journeys, or we can choose to have none at all. And those give us different bonuses throughout the course of the game. Then we can either choose a preset appearance, or we can delve in further and customize our character at a detail level. There's dozens of different faces and hairstyles and skin tones, eye color, tattoos, etc. to choose from, so you can make your character look exactly how you want. And now here we see the city of Rathir, capital of the Dark Elves, also called the Ducklefar, in Reckoning.
There are some very beautiful scenes in there.
Yeah. So you can see just a little bit here. We've got some characters walking around us. All the characters in the game are fully scheduled. So we have characters moving about, doing their daily routines. We have this woman over here on the left side of the bridge who's actually looking to see the ships return on the docks because there's an army at war and many of them have not yet returned. So you'll see a lot of characters kind of waiting for their husbands or wives to come back from the front. So we're going to walk into the city here and see a little bit of some of the rogue gameplay. Now we've begun this demo as actually a mage character. We have a bunch of mage or sorcery themed abilities, but you'll notice we're wearing some leather armor, we're wearing some rogue gear, we've got some daggers. One of the interesting things about Reckoning is our destiny system. Over the course of the game you can use different loot and different abilities from different kind of paths through the game, the warrior, rogue, and mage gameplay, and you can mix and match those and hybridize them however you want. So if you were to say, like in this case, we have a bunch of points in sorcery, sort of mage abilities, and we also have a bunch of points in finesse. So at this point in the game, the player's starting to kind of mix and match and branch together these different play styles. And our loot reflects that with a mix of a mage weapon and a rogue weapon and some leather and cloth armor. We'll see a little bit more about that later. Now, we see this woman peering off into the distance over here in the archway. We're going to use the stealth skill to sneak up on her and pick her pocket. Nice. She's patting herself down, and let's get away before she realizes we took her stuff. So as you can see, these eyeball indicators appear above all the NPCs when we're in stealth. Those let us know how aware that character is of us. If a character is looking away from you and they're by themselves and your stealth skill is good, you can generally sneak up on them. In a crowded area like this one, that's going to be a lot harder. So we'll see if we try to pickpocket one of the guys in the city square, how well that works out for us. Yeah.
Not too happy.
Not happy at all. So when you commit crimes in the game, in a civilized area anyway, citizens will call the guards. The guards will come and try to arrest you, at which point you can decide how you want to deal with that. You can try to pay them off with a bribe, which if you have the persuasion skill actually can become cheaper. You can resist arrest, try to fight them off, but they will try to kill you. Or you can try to flee in that case. Or you can choose to go to jail, in which case you can either orchestrate a jailbreak, and there's dozens of different jails in the game, and each one's kind of a different experience. Or you can actually serve out your sentence. You pay an XP penalty and get back out. In this case, we're going to go ahead and pay off that fine.
Don't let me catch you making trouble again,
Citizen? Yes, sir.
Won't do it again. So, we're going to rock around the corner of the square here and check out a merchant.
Curios, talismans,
I just love this guy's dialogue.
Mages worth their salt, buy from Leogryphs.
So Leogryph here is someone who tried to get into one of the joinable factions in the game, the Scholia Arcana, and failed. And now he just sells stuff. One of the cool things about Reckoning is our junk feature. As you find loot in the world, if you find something you don't want, like in this case we're a mage rogue kind of hybrid, we find some giant hammer, we don't really care, so we want to be able to sell it later. We can tag items right when you loot them as junk, and then the next time you visit a merchant, you can hit a single button and sell all those at once. Now at this point in the demo, we already have a bunch of junk items, so Joe can just sell it off here instantly. Cool. Now, he doesn't really have anything we want at the moment, so we're going to pass him by and go on to the next merchant, more of a specialist in the weapons that we're looking for.
So much to choose from.
All right, now once again, we see characters doing their activities, going about their routines, in this case, shopping here in a weapon and armor shop. In this case, the husband over to the right sells armor in this shop, and the wife over to the left sells weapons. I'm going to see what she has to offer.
I'll sell you weapons, but if it's armor you need, you'll have to speak to that husband of mine.
So, once again, sometimes you'll find equipment in the game, either via loot or via merchant, that you don't immediately need. It's not appropriate to your character. But one of the cool things about our crafting systems is they might be useful to you anyway. So we see this frost hammer, the sturdy sword, and the azurite daggers here. The daggers we could use, but they're not much better than what we have. And meanwhile, the sword and the hammer are totally inappropriate for our character. But they have good bonuses on them. So, all right, well, we'll pick them up. We'll go ahead and spend the money. Now, after we've bought those, we can walk over to the blacksmithing forge here in the back and use that skill to disassemble those items. So Joe will go to the salvage menu here, and we'll salvage those weapons we just bought. And we're actually going to get some components out of them that then have whatever those bonuses are. So because we took apart, for instance, an ice hammer, we get that essence of ice on one of the components, and we can use that component to then make a set of daggers, something we do want, that has that bonus on it. Voila, we have a set of master-crafted daggers now that are going to be much more impressive than what we were using before. As we hop out, Joe can show you the daggers he has now, and then switch over to the new ones. So your standard issue steel daggers, very cool, but could be cooler. And now our new master crafted daggers. You'll notice they have an ice effect on them. And we can do that.
Nice.
Yeah. It's cool in the middle of a fight. You can actually jump through multiple different enemies. And as you level up that skill, you can go further and further between more guys.
Now, what will that do to the NPCs when you jump through them with the frost effect active?
So, well, one, they won't like it. But two, one of the things about ice damage in the game, each of our damage over time types has a different systemic effect. Fire is just straight up damage, but it does a lot of it. Ice will slow enemies down, and there's actually an ability you can invest in to make it slow them down more. Lightning will propagate to other enemies nearby, and then bleeding and poison will weaken your enemies in different ways. These are our chakrams, my personal favorite weapon in the game. It's one of the mage weapons. And again, we're sort of a hybrid, so we have some mage weapons and some rogue. So cool. So I'm going to walk up to a quest giver here and see what's up.
Please, can't you help? I need someone to travel to the Tuwili coast. It's my daughter. Anella led a group of refugees to the town of Kuln. I warned her not to go, but she's always been a strong-willed girl. I should have heard from her by now. And the caravanners say that bands of Tuatha have landed on the coast. If anything happened to Anella, I don't know what I'd do. Please, help me.
So the dialogue system in Reckoning, like everything else, hinges around player choice. So as you progress through the game, first you're going to see that quest options, like the dialogue options that will actually directly progress through the quest, are always highlighted in blue and thrown to the top of the list. You can just get right back to the action if you want to. If you don't, you can delve in further and get more information about the characters, lore of the world, and just kind of what's going on in the story. And at certain key points like this one, we're actually presented with an exclusive choice. We can agree to do this quest or not. We can actually pursue more information, or, thanks to the persuasion skill, we can try to get this guy to pay us a little bit more for helping him out.
So you can pocket it.
We failed. Should have invested more in persuasion. All right, but we're going to go ahead and help him out. Try to find his daughter.
Well, at last. Mitharu bless you, friend. Anella led the refugees to the ruins of Kuln on the Tuwili coast. Look for her there. If she's hurt, bring her back safely. If she's dead, I told her it was too dangerous. Why wouldn't she listen?
Okay, so this character has added the ruined city of Kuln, or village rather, of Kuln to our maps. We now know how to find it. And our quest targets tell us that that's where his daughter is, or at least where he thinks she is. So we're going to head that way. Now you do see a load screen here. One thing we should point out is that entering into interiors or cities will have a load screen, but traveling throughout the outdoor world doesn't. You can go through these vast stretches of land without any sort of load screens or any pauses in the action.
Now, one question that a number of people on Facebook and Twitter have asked is, how do we handle long-distance travel between zones, between cities?
So, like in this case, that character told us about Cologne, the village of Cologne, so he's added it to our map. We can't fast travel there, though, because we haven't been there yet.
Okay.
After you've actually been to a new location, it's permanently added to your map, and it becomes opaque on the map, and you're allowed to fast travel to it, as long as you're outside. Can't fast travel from inside a dungeon.
Okay, and what about mounts?
No mounts, I'm afraid. Fortunately, we do have a sprinting option, so you can move pretty quick when you're traveling around.
No, there's some fighting going on.
Nice. Nice. So these creatures are called sprites, and they're generally elementally themed. So you may have noticed one of them was on fire. When the normal little sprites, the other guys that were surrounding him, are near a sprite champion like that one, they absorb some of its power. So depending on what sprite champions you see nearby, you can get a sense of what abilities those sprites are going to have. Now we're going to truck on forward through the plains of Arethel to, yep, there it is, the ruined village of Cologne. So there we go. Seeing that pop up lets us know that from now on we can fast travel there. That's definitely been attacked and eerily deserted. And we're being ambushed. Quit. There it is. Aww. There, see how he can actually, zip through multiple different guys. Pretty sweet. Yeah. Well, you'll see sometimes he'll block right as an enemy's attack's incoming, and he'll parry them. So he gets that just moment of time freeze just for a second, and they're stunned, and then he can follow it up with a counterattack. And as you invest in different weapons, you unlock a bunch of different counterattacks.
Nice.
Very nice. By attacking after a roll or a teleport, you can do that sweet move where just kind of spinning the chakrams in the air and send them flying. It's awesome. So those guys were Tuatha. In fact, they're the raiders who originally attacked this village, or part of the same group anyway. So apparently they're still in the area, and that gives us reason for concern as far as the main story is concerned. Because these guys are the army that's invading the area. And they really shouldn't be here. The plains of Arethel is separated by a strait from where they actually are, where they are rather, to the east of us. So the fact that they're here is a little worrisome. Let's see what's going on. It's in the storm cellar here.
They found me! Thank Mitharu. I thought I'd die here, the last of Kuln's settlers, alone. Anella and the foragers were out when the Tuatha came. It was a massacre until she returned and drove them off. She and the others set off for Verki, where Anella said they came from. If you've got any hope of finding her alive, you'll get there quickly.
So we've just found out where Anella's at, and fortunately it's right next to where we already were, right outside the gates of Rathir. It's an open world game, so if we had just wandered there outside the city by luck, we actually would have found her. Okay. But by following the quest through its official route, we found out exactly where she is, and now we can fast travel there.
One of the things that I'm really catching in this part of the demo is you can see the shadows of the vultures flying around.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you don't see that often. That's very cool.
That's cool. You see the kind of the seagulls in the docks area of Rathir as well. So you'll notice here that when Joe was fighting those guys earlier, he leveled up. We're actually going to go ahead and spend those points now. Every time you level up, you can invest into 9 different non-combat skills and over 60 abilities that spread across these 3 ability trees you're seeing now. Just going to buy some new active abilities, actually. So Frost Trap, which he can either pre-place or place in the middle of a battle to knock enemies down and then slow them down with that ice damage we talked about earlier. And Smoke Bomb. Smoke Bomb will let him entirely disappear to an enemy's sight for a short duration. It'll burn up all his mana, but let him either get out of jail free or perform a stealth kill if he's got the skills invested to do that. Alright, now you'll also notice he's unlocked a new Destiny here. Destinies, as I mentioned earlier, are sort of a dynamic character class. Pardon me. So, because Joe's invested exactly this many points in sorcery and finesse, he unlocks this hybrid destiny called Shadowcaster. Shadowcaster is going to make him better at that particular playstyle and kind of encourage him to do that. He doesn't have to use his destiny, of course, but it's now an option available to him. And the more you play into the game and the more you kind of try experimenting with points in different areas, the more kind of destinies you unlock. Either if he were to just focus on sorcery, he might unlock the most powerful kind of mage you could ever be, whereas this way, spreading his points around, he unlocks these interesting hybrids. In addition to doing, so here's some he's unlocked to date. So in addition to doing stat differences, which you'd expect, they also changed some of the core mechanics of the game. For instance, when you're choosing to play a mage instead of as a rogue, instead of rolling, you'll actually teleport. And now that he's choosing to play this hybrid, an actual mage-rogue destiny, when he switches over to that, which we'll see here shortly, well, actually, you know what, I'll wait. Let's go ahead and fast travel first.